Joy Taylor is the latest one that's guilty of this. That
Joy Taylor, and I'm going to read this, stood 10 toes down on the Joe Budden podcast.
Caitlin Clark would not be anything without Angel Reese, which is baffling.
Joy Taylor, who went on the Joe Budden podcast and gave her thoughts on how and why Caitlin Clark became so popular.
if Caitlin Clark did that same thing to Angel Reese in a win, that would be Caitlin Clark feuding down.
Joy Taylor has chosen to come and speak again.
I want to take a moment to sincerely apologize to Caitlin Clark. In hindsight, my comments comparing her to Angel Reese were unfair and dismissive of everything Caitlin has accomplished. She's an incredible talent, a game changer for women's basketball, and she deserves to be recognized on her own merits, not constantly pitted against others. I respect her game, her composure, and the impact she's having, and I regret the way my words may have come across.
I want to sincerely apologize to Caitlin Clark. In hindsight, my comments comparing her to Angel Reese were unfair and dismissive of all that Caitlin has accomplished. She's an incredible talent and a game changer for women's basketball. She deserves to be recognized.
Joy Taylor has chosen to come and speak again, as if she hasn't been in enough hot water over these last few months. As if she ain't been in enough hot water, bro. This is the last thing you need to be doing. We got her on the Joe Budden podcast. Shout out to Joe, Queen's Flip. I'm a fan. But we got Joy Taylor continuing to push this bullcrap race narrative, this race war, and this false narrative that Caitlin Clark is more relevant because of Angel Reese. When if anything, Angel Reese became more relevant by continuing to attach herself to Caitlin Clark non-stop. She's used Caitlin Clark for promotion at every single turn in every single business venture.
Joy Taylor is once again speaking out, despite already being in hot water recently. She's continuing to push this false race narrative. Caitlin Clark just brought...
I just said we would not be talking about Caitlin Clark the way that we do if it wasn't for that moment with Angel Reese. And I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
I was with you until that.
I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
Joy.
I will fight this war.
Joy, chill out.
All I said was that we wouldn't be talking about Caitlin Clark the way we do if it weren't for that moment with Angel Reese. And I stand by that. I will die on this hill.
Even the co-host disagreeing with her on that, saying, "Oh, I was with you until you said that."
To the level that she's going,
talking.
she's not even close to being accurate.
Even her co-hosts disagreed, saying things like, "I was with you until you said that." She's just going too far. What she's saying isn't even close to being accurate. It's outrageous how these women keep pushing this racial narrative. The idea that the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark moment was some Magic Johnson, Larry Bird moment for the WNBA is just nonsense. Look, I'm a storyteller. I believe in storylines, heroes, villains, and hype. You've got to sell the game.
This is nasty work, y'all. This is nasty work that these women cannot stop pushing this nonsense racial crap.
The Magic Johnson, Larry Bird moment for the WNBA. Like, this is great. I'm a storyteller. I think storylines are so fucking important. I think you need villains. I think you need heroes. You need shit to sell. You got to sell a fight. Like, brand all of this. And it upset white men to watch this strong, winning, unapologetic black woman be in their, be in Caitlin's face.
In their savior's face.
Yeah. And they still cling to it. And it's now like spun to this.
Now, she's acting like, at this point, she's acting like Caitlin doesn't have black fans. But go ahead.
They're still pushing the narrative that Caitlin Clark wouldn't be anything without Angel Reese, which is baffling. The numbers and analytics show clearly Angel Reese isn't even close to Caitlin Clark in popularity or performance.
Caitlin Clark would not be anything without Angel Reese, which is baffling. There is any number of numbers, statistics, analytics, whatever you want to look at, that proves Angel Reese is not nearly as popular as Caitlin Clark. It's not even close.
Joy Taylor doubled down on the Joe Budden podcast, insisting that the media wouldn't be talking about Caitlin Clark at all if it weren't for that moment with
Joy Taylor, and I'm going to read this, stood 10 toes down on the Joe Budden podcast when speaking on her stance that the media would not be talking about Caitlin Clark had she not had that moment with Angel Reese.
People knew who Caitlin Clark was before that incident. That moment was so big because we already knew her. If she had just been another white girl from Iowa averaging 12 points per game, no one would have cared. But she was dropping bombs from half court and chasing records. That's why the moment mattered. Society had already latched on. She was a phenomenon.
People were talking about Caitlin Clark before that moment.
It was the race to the...
It was such a big moment because we knew who Caitlin Clark was. If Caitlin Clark was just another white girl from Iowa that averaged 12 a game and not what she did and wasn't going for a national record, then yeah, it wouldn't have been much of anything
It was the national
that happened in the game. People would have laughed about it. It would have been a meme. It would have been a joke. It would have been whatever. It was a big deal because Caitlin Clark was involved.
It started out as, have you seen this girl who's shooting from half court and making every shot? And she's going for the all-time scoring record, right? And then that became the phenomenon. We latched on to that. And as a society, and then all of a sudden, they're matching up with Angel Reese and LSU, who are competing for national championships.
Caitlin Clark's games averaged 1.7 million viewers and peaked at 2.2 million, up 14% from last season and 52% higher than the WNBA average on ESPN. This is next level. This is the Caitlin Clark effect. In All-Star voting, Caitlin Clark pulled in 515,000 votes, 3 times more than Angel Reese, who ranks 13th in popularity.
This is what superstardom is. I guarantee you one thing, Asia Wilson ain't pulled this type of number without Caitlin Clark before. I tell you that right now. She ain't pulling this type of number. She's not pulling this type of number. This is legendary, magical stuff here. Average 1.7 million viewers, peaked at 2.2. That is up 14% from last season, and it was up 52% versus last year's WNBA on ESPN regular season average. Up 443,000 viewers, man. This is next level, man. This is the Caitlin Clark effect, period. This is the CeCe effect, point blank, period.
I predicted national ratings would be telling, and they were. The Sky vs. Liberty game drew only 606,000 viewers. Meanwhile, the Fever vs. Liberty game, featuring Caitlin, pulled 2.22 million. That's 1.6 million more people tuning in to see Clark against the same team. Caitlin Clark recorded the first triple-double for a rookie, while Angel Reese set a record for most double-doubles. But a lot of Reese's rebounds came from her own missed shots down low. Early on, their performances were close, but as the season progressed, Caitlin pulled...
The Fever versus Liberty drew 2.2 million viewers. In case your math ain't working out, that is 1,594,000 more people that tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark play than watched Angel Reese play the very same team. The interest wouldn't be there without Angel. They all know that's BS. It's total BS. It's horseshit. It's hilarious that they're still here. Caitlin Clark, the All-Star voting, 515,000, basically 516,000 votes. She is 3 times higher than Angel Reese, who's way back at 13th. She's the 13th most popular player in the league right now. I come out on June 10th and said the Chicago Sky and Liberty national TV ratings are going to be very interesting. Well, they were, because they drew a putrid 606,000 viewers on ESPN.
Sure, more people learned about Caitlin Clark after that moment. But many already knew who she was. She was the story during the Final Four. The WNBA rivalry kicked off, and now the pro head-to-head is completely lopsided, 4-1 in Caitlin's favor. In college, Angel had the edge, but in the WNBA, Caitlin is dominating. She didn't choose her team, Indiana.
Discussion.
Which was, I
tells you-
guess, somewhat of an argument early on in the year.
Like the first
and then
half.
quickly, there was separation.
Well, because it was because at that point, I think Caitlin Clark had the first triple-double for a rookie coming into the league or something like that. And Angel Reese had already broken the record for most rebounds or something.
Well, it was double-doubles. She was on some sort of pace that most double-doubles for a rookie.
That's right.
Points and rebounds.
That's it.
Left out the part where she's rebounding a lot of her own shots and misses down low as part of the rebounding totals. But yeah, there was a time where they were closer, and then as the season went on, Caitlin Clark took off and away from Angel Reese.
Here's what Portnoy had to say, and part of his own rebuttal.